They said forensic audit.
Public
Yes.
submitted to the state, and they're actually on the website, so anybody's welcome to review those. So as far as audit goes, that part is covered. And yeah, the consideration for those on fixed income, that you're dealing with the same lack of inflationary increases that we are. And speaking, for myself here, learn an online environment, and then there's another $7 million. Those are pieces that you're allowed to take against grants or basically budget relief, budget. So you don't have a direct expense against it, but you're allowed to take the revenue. So that all in total is how that's works.
And if I could just add to that just a minute. So I liken ESSER funding to if you have hail damage on your house and you need to get a new roof. The ESSER funding was designed to recoup or to help with learning loss from the pandemic. One-time money that ran out. What we were told to do with that money was to use it for ongoing operation, which is like using that insurance money for your roof to pay your mortgage. Well, eventually you can do it for a couple of years, but eventually that money's going to run out. And that's what happened. We were told to use our one-time insurance money to pay our mortgage. It ended September 2024. So that's why we're in this situation. It's not just Kenosha Unified, it's across the state.
It was misappropriation of funds.
There is a follow-up question to that, wondering why the COVID money wasn't used for some of the safety enhancements.
Simple answer is it's not allowed. So feel free to look at the Department of Public Instruction. There are COVID and ESSER guidelines that show the allowable use of those funds, what would be allowed and what's not allowed. So it's not like a truck pulled up to our parking lot and dumped $72 million on our lot and said, "Here's what it's spent." The way these things work, the grant that we have to submit a budget application for, we have to get prior approval for the way the funds would be used. We had to spend our own money and then turn around and claim reimbursement from the state. And all along the way, you had to make sure and prove and be audited that the use of those funds was within the guidelines before you get your reimbursement.
I have some papers here.
Okay. The next question is, how can we ask for tax increase when we don't know how much taxes are next year?
I'll be the first to say that we do what we can with the information that we have available at the time. So there are a lot of assumptions and variables built into here. We're also working without knowing what the state budget is. We are at the end of the second year of the biennium. So right now, our legislators are debating and putting out proposals for what the next 2 years will look like for us from a state budget standpoint. No matter what, we only know, even when they adopt that budget, we'll know the next 2 years. We're always in a situation where we don't know 2 years what our future is going to hold, and very important variables that impact us. What we do know, and the best thing that we can do, is project our enrollment, and even that is limited to 5 years is where we feel more comfortable with that because of the correlation to birth rates. But we are in an unknown environment where we're using the information that we have to make our best projections.
Thank you. Can we share how much has been lost due to those who have unenrolled in KUSC? Prospect birth rate. So this is those who specifically have open enrolled or chosen homeschool or private school.
Yeah, I don't have that information directly available here, but just in general, our revenue limit is about 11,350 per student.
That is not enough.
So whatever that disenrollment number, it's not a direct translation because the way that the complicated revenue limit formula works, it's the way you're rolling averages, and there's some goes in there to get some temporary relief while you're declining. But just in general speak, it's about 11,350 per student. And our problem is when we lose enrollment, we don't have the ability to decrease our expenditures at the same pace. So couple simple examples I'll use is a classroom. A classroom has, just for simplicity, let's say it has 23 students in it. If you lose 3 of those students, you're losing 11,350 times 3, but your expenses to run that classroom, you're not able to change the expenses to run the classroom. So not only are you losing the revenue, it's going to be more expensive to run that classroom in the following year as you have staff salary increases, you have health insurance increases, you have normal inflationary increases for everything that it takes to run that classroom. Another example is transportation. If you lose a couple students off of a bus route, you're losing that revenue that goes with those students, but you're still running that same bus route. You might have less kids on that bus, but you're running that same bus route, and the transportation company that we're contracting with has an inflationary increase in their contract, so it's going to cost us more to run the same thing with less revenue.
No, it's not. Here, he just talking. You don't go to those addresses.
Thank you.
No, you say
How
city
will
bus
this
or
referendum help us
public
close the
bus.
achievement gap for our students of color and to address the disparity in behavioral referrals?
Let's sit
So
here, man.
we've mentioned Act 20 before, which I can hear wherever you want, but the major thing that we're taking on here in our district is Act 20 and trying to, there's actually a course to develop our efforts to close the gap in Wisconsin, the whole state. And so Act 20 is this new reading program where, for example, kids who are under the 25th percentile in elementary school get an individualized reading plan. This is a new program from the state. We think it is fantastic. We have worked really hard to implement this with our elementary school administrators and teachers. This is the first year that we're rolling it out. We have lots of assessments we have to give, lots of requirements of reporting back to parents. Just read this one that came in. There's a question about wishing kids had better nutritious food, real food, prioritizing juice.
They better say
eating
my
more
whole
during the
thing.
school day. I think the regular schedule